Call a meeting to order the Town of Walpole Board of Sewer and Water Commissioners, being Monday, July 28th, 6:30 PM at the E.J. Delaney Treatment Plant. We have a scheduled posted meeting. The first item is a review of minutes from June 9th and June 23rd.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
make a motion, we approve the minutes of June 9th.
I second it.
Okay, moved and seconded to approve the meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And Mr. Chairman, make a
300.
make a motion, we approve the minutes of June 23rd.
Okay. I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 300. Okay. Now, we have status report.
Good evening. This is the first update, I think, since early June. Going back to June, we completed the level 2 call form assessment. There's actually a copy right here, about 90 pages we brought down for you guys. No sanitary defects were found in our system. Coliform sampling has been relatively coliform free, minus one coliform hit the Farinacci tank. Sent you guys all emails on that. Repeat sampling all came back fine. We are continuing to monitor our pumping and our treatment plant outputs and chlorine levels. July has been a good pumping year so far. First 10 days of the year, up around 3.1 million gallons a day. We dipped a little bit after the holiday, but we're back averaging right again 3.1 million gallons a day. Our plants and sources are holding up fine. No issues with pumping levels or treatment plant outputs.
Do we have any peak numbers, like any day?
I think 3.9 to 4-ish, right, Scott? I think in our raw numbers. So like, for instance, like I think like we'll pump 3.9 for 2 days, and then we'll catch up in the tanks, and then it'll be like a 2.8, 2.6, and then we'll kind of fluctuate, but on average about 3.1.
Okay.
Some of it's weather dependent too.
Yeah, so the peak will be like 4.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like once we get like the day of rain,
Mm.
people shut the sprinklers right down. You can tell. Towards the end of May into June, we did a partial leak detection in our water system, about 95 miles. We focused primarily on the south and north zones and a few main lines in the central zone that we're paving over. Below, you see a list of leaks in our system. Most of them have been resolved. There's one on Saddle Way. We're working with the homeowner. That's a service leak on their side. But it was, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 leaks identified. The hydrants were pretty easy to seal up. They just weren't sealed down all the way.
What side of the bridge on Saddle Way, was that on the far end?
Closer,
Oh, okay.
closer, yeah. We've been doing I&I work, mainly camera work through our sewer mains this summer. During the week of June 21st, we discovered a section of East Street sewer main 8-inch VC collapsed, or was collapsed. We made the repair the following week. That was on schedule to get paved. FY26 rates haven't updated the town website. We are working internally to get our billing system updated. The first bills have already hit out with the billing stuffer. The office is fully up to date, so as people call inquiring, we're kind of explaining the process and where we're heading. Diamond and South Street water main bids came back on June 25th. PJ Hayes had the lowest bid at $1.771 million. The work includes 2,300 feet of 12-inch pipe, 4,600 feet of 8-inch pipe, valves, hydrant, water services, and some road restoration. And below you'll see basically a summary of all the bids.
What's the first company? Was it Sabati?
Sabati, it looks like, yes.
You familiar with them?
No, they're up in the, they're above too. But PJ Hayes, CJP are usual.
A lot of acronyms there, I don't know. You familiar with those, Bill? CCU, RFS?
Just that PJ Hayes,
Well, I know Hayes,
Seen them
but I mean,
around.
I just wanted the names of the other companies.
yeah, as long as they.
Because they're pretty close, those are all $1,700,000, it's like.
Yeah, they're all very close.
And how much was appropriated, do you recall?
I believe there was some consolidation of previous water main projects. I think we had, was it 900,000 last town meeting, plus we're
Mhm.
consolidating the previous water main projects. The whole project's gonna be a little over 2
Yeah,
by the time we get our construction admin details and everything else in.
okay.
All right. Is that it?
That's it.
Thank you. Okay, do you want to go to, is there a problem if we start the appointment early with Weston and Sampson, or do you have a tight schedule? Or you want to get to,
can wait if you, one or two things out of order.
what do you think? You want to take an abatement, or?
Do you want to take the abatements and get the residents taken care of?
Yeah, okay. All right, we have 34 Hound Pack Circle.
This is 34 Hound Packs, second time here. From the first meeting, I went deeper into their accounts. On your packet, you'll see abatement number 1 with my summary. So there's 3 billing periods that we're kind of looking at. So the first billing period, June 15th, 24 through 9/15/24. The last 24 days of that cycle we estimated, because if you look further in the packet, we know the exact day the meter went out. So based off of that, we were able to estimate the rest of that quarter. The next billing cycle, we did not get a read at all. We weren't able to change the meter out. The usage was at we estimated at 1301 cubic feet, all at tier 1. The next billing cycle, we were able to change the meter out. So if you kind of follow me on it, the next billing cycle was December 15th, 24 to March 15th, 25th. We changed the meter on January 9th. I've attached the meter record card in here for the change out on January 9th. So we have actual usage for January 9th through March 15th, 25 on the new meter at 909 cubic feet. With the actual physical reading, that's how we calculated the 3,267 cubic feet of usage for that quarter, which actually brought it with the 919 to 4186, which is billed out in tiers 1 through 4. We attempted to locate the meter. We could not locate the meter. We looked up and down. If you look further in your packets, I kind of broke down the usage by quarter, looking at for the past 5 years. So if you look at those spring dates of after the December 15th, historically they've been in the 11 to 1300 range. So it is, I guess, an anomaly looking at 5 years for us to bill out the 3,267 to over 4,000. I will throw out there that we didn't find the meter, so there could have been an error in the way we wrote the numbers down. For instance, 204,713, if we wrote it down 202,713, that would have made the difference. Just looking at the 5-year history.
All right.
Does that make sense for Bill?
Yeah, I think we have to give benefit of doubt to the owners of this water plant and go for the lowest rates and lowest uses, average use.
Lowest tier, yeah.
Yeah, lowest tier. Since this is like once in a, what do you call, blue moon kind of event, where you lost the meter and not have the exact numbers, we should go with the lowest uses information and the lowest tier 1.
So how many cubic feet are you suggesting?
He gave the average number.
So we billed out at 4,186. I think
4,586,
No, the bill.
186.
4186.
4186.
And,
Yeah, okay.
you know, just looking at that, you know, first quarter,
Well, when I
Of
was
the-
looking at the last page.
Yep.
And just forget it, just looking at actually the last four, where the readings were all actuals, for
I look at the
June,
mark.
yeah, June through August, the average has been 4,540, and this 4186 is in the same ballpark. I would prefer that we just rate it as normal, not rather than putting it all in tier one.
Well, I'd support Pardeep's proposal myself. I think
All right, well, make the
we
motion.
can't, you can make the motion.
I make motion that we charge the owner at tier 1 at that,
For the 4,000.
yeah, 4186. We have done this similar in the past also for, different scenarios.
Okay, I'll second that. Any discussion?
No,
Okay,
I
thank
said
you,
I
Bill.
prefer using all tiers, but
All in favor?
I
Aye. Opposed?
I,
Okay,
Okay.
2-1.
I got it.
Thank you.
May I ask a question? Or not?
Yeah, you can ask the question. It's public forum, but just to summarize, we have given the authority to superintendent to lower your bill based on the tier 1 lowest rate.
Right, but what does that mean to me in money?
That he has to calculate. And
The office will calculate it. We'll let you know midweek. Do I have the bill amount?
the way the thing goes, your first 1,500 is at the lowest rate.
Right,
The next 900 cubic feet is slightly higher. So getting it all at the lowest rate is a bargain. That's,
I'm
but in
still
terms of the
would like to know
dollar
approximately
amount, that would have to be,
if that's-
they'll be able to give it,
Yeah, but my question is, do we get charged for the estimated of 1,301 cubic feet or 41 or 4,186 feet?
The same for 186, but as tier one, that's what you're saying?
That was the motion that you guys
that was the
just-
motion and
Yeah.
the vote,
Right,
yes.
that's what you decided, but you have no way to tell me how much it's gonna cost me, 200 or 500?
The office has to calculate that because there's 4 different tiers that they're gonna have to, actually, it'd be,
You multiply it
Well,
times
the
tier
rate
one
for the
and
tier one is
subtract it
somewhere
from
in the $50 per
Maybe-
thousand.
maybe four-
Multiply it by 4, it's
Yeah.
around 200, a little bit more than 200 is,
And to that I have to add the sewer.
yes. The sewer, and the sewer is a
Flat.
flat rate. There is no tiers in that time period. There is now, but in this fiscal year.
so your water charge of 337-ish is gonna go down to 220-ish, kind of just estimated.
Yeah,
Okay,
roughly
and
there.
the sewer is what I paid, with the bill it was $400, so you're saying that's gonna cost me over $600 for the bill from December to March, which I only usually used to use about 1,200 cubic feet. Is that what you're telling me?
I thought the issue was the June through
No, it wasn't June.
September. We're-
No,
No,
I believe the bill they are concerned about is it's the second to last page in your packet,
Yeah,
December to March.
the bill date,
Okay.
4/17/25.
well, this includes the catch-up by,
It does include the catch-up,
that's
yes.
where the estimates,
But
So
it
it does-
is a decent question. I mean, if you're assuming that's some of that water, that might have been a wrong number. Obviously, you shouldn't have a sewer charge on it either, but.
Well, we only bill for sewer at 85% of the water
Right.
usage to begin with. And sewer's expensive. I mean, it's,
Most likely I did not use all that water realistically, because this is between December and March. No water outside, just inside, 2 people inside the house. How much water can we use?
No, it actually goes back to August 22nd, because from August 22nd up until January, we couldn't read the meter,
Okay.
so we were estimating.
I understand, but statistically, what I use through the years, you know that this big bill does not make sense.
Okay,
Look at every quarter, that period, every quarter, and then you tell me if this bill is right.
let us calculate the savings and show it to you, make sure you're happy.
and I think we can show them this page, which shows, you know, that definitely during the June through September time, it's always
I didn't question
considerably
that.
higher, yeah.
We're not questioning that.
Yeah.
We're not questioning that.
We know every time that period is been high, and we never question it.
Well, I think the only thing is, you know, let the office calculate it, and so we'll know exactly what it is.
Let's just go. It's not going on. All right, whatever. I don't think we're gonna be saving much anyway.
No, whatever, I don't think it's right what you guys doing, because you cannot produce the meter. I have to take the word which you wrote over there, 301, whatever, 301 and something, which the guy which changed the meter could have made a mistake. If I go by every quarter, going back 5 years, like you said, that's what I did. And my average consumption is always on the little over 1,000.
Let's just go. Okay,
Okay, we'll
thank you.
see what we can do.
No, not confused.
No, it's okay.
It's convoluted. Okay, moving right along.
Next up for abatement is 22 Cedar Street. I believe Erin's here.
Mhm.
So she's seeking an abatement for water usage going back to November 2022. Her property is served by water only, no sewer. She has a curbside meter pit, 1.5 meter. Just an FYI, the water has been off since May 9th. During our quarterly reads, the meter was leaking. We attempted to tighten the bolts, seal it. We were unsuccessful, I believe, on the 7th and 8th, and it's been off since the 9th. So what I've done is I provided some little bit of history and background on the meter. Just so you guys know, the original meter pit, 1994 original. In 2012, we actually changed the meter over to a Metron meter with a Metron head. In 2022, we just changed the meter head. So if you kind of go back to the fourth to last page, I kind of broke down the usage a little bit. We have had issues with these Metron meters. So for a period of 2016 to 2022, this meter was actually not working. So these are like complete estimates. Even on the final change out, the digital head was blank, so we had no final number to go off of. So we could not actually begin getting a reading until 11/11/2012. You'll see in there, there are some estimates sprinkled in, mainly in the period of 23 to 24. Her meter is like about 5 feet deep, and the signal did not travel. So throughout these quarters, every quarter, we were actually lifting up her manhole. Occasionally there was water in a meter pit. We had to pump it down and shine a flashlight, use our cell phones, some way to kind of get the physical reading off of the meter. And that's how we discovered the leak about May 7th and shut down for May 9th.
So when we did that, that would have been an actual reading? Or is that listed, because I see lots and lots of estimated and then some actuals and some,
So for instance, the actuals, like a late 8/11/24, 11/10/24, those are actual reads.
okay, even though they're listed as E?
No, 8/11/24, 11/10/24.
Oh, okay, sorry. yeah,
Before
yeah.
that, 5/11/2/11, those were estimates.
Yeah.
Just looking at, her when it was actually reading, her usage was quite high. 7,600 per quarter, 6,900 per quarter, 7,800 per quarter. Going over the notes, she did call, we did come to help, look for leaks in her house. I want to assume that if we went there for a leak check, knowing that she had a meter pit and a long service, we would have listened to the service. That would have been, one of the first things we would have done,
Yeah.
because it's just common sense for us. So since May 11th, she has been on her neighbor's hose while she works to find a contractor to get her meter pit repaired. Her usage is much less. I think I have that noted. So since May 9th, she's averaging about 30 cubic feet per day. Compare that to when she was running through a meter, she was about 88 to 128 cubic feet a day. And Erin is here, if you guys want to get her input.
It's just interesting, if I read it correctly, 7 years' worth of estimates. Once you're off, if you're off once, and then you, so it's like over 20 readings, that amount off just gets, it just builds up either one direction or the other. Because normally, I would, like we did on, what I did on the previous one, is look at the last set of actuals and said, all right, based on that, that's, and here, with 7 years of estimates, I have no idea how to come up with something.
But there's like 4 quarters of actuals, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which are recent.
So even those actuals are questionable, and the integrity of those are questionable, those meter reads. So what wasn't said is that I had called numerous times. I replaced toilets, and the plumber said there was nothing wrong with them. I was told unequivocally 4 times by the Walpole Water Department that it was leaking in my house, and they checked the water lines in the pit, and there was no problems with the meter. But come to find out, they've really never had consistent reads, and the water in the water pit was caused by loose gaskets from the original. Could have been from September 22 when they used the same or replaced the meter head, or it could go all the way back to 2012 where they replaced the meter. I don't know. So all I know is that the integrity of these readings are way off, and we found numerous gaskets or bolts in our water pit, which is consistent with repairs done to a 1.5 water line, which is really my responsibility, but I don't know that unless the water department tells me there's a problem, and then gives me permission to fix it because there's a $2,000 fine if I mess with the water meter. And it's also under a sewer cover that I cannot lift. So there's no way for me to determine there was a problem. So when they switched out the meter head on 9/12/22, my bill skyrocketed to $700, which is crazy. But she told me on the phone, it's something in your house. So I went and did my due diligence, switched out toilets, was told there was no problem. I had shower head, reducers put on. I had Mass Save come out, and and I had a plumber come out and check because I didn't receive a bill that quarter. She just told me it was $700 and that they were working on it. And then the following quarter, I got a bill for $1,400. And I was like, there's something wrong and it's not in my house. And they said in their notes, which they did not say to me, that Erin accepted it and she was basically okay with it, which I wasn't, and that they were gonna send out, but let me read you some of the notes. Spoke with Erin. She's very understanding the first time, 12/8/22. Erin said, that a manual bill would be sent to her. I never received it. I called again, very stressed, because I received the bill at $1,400 for 2 quarters. And they said, we'll look into it, troubleshooting again. I just said it's crazy amount of water usage. Then on the next day, they said Phil, who was a water department employee, sent reading, can't read meter. Cycle, can't read meter. Meter pit, need to ask, based on Phil's previous notes, need to investigate further. Water scope has no recent readings. Read off of Excel spreadsheet to estimate. Cycle read is way off. Need to figure out what needs to be done about this. That was in 2023. So if I'm calling and they're writing these notes, they knew there was a problem. They didn't notify me. There's broken gaskets in the bottom of my water pit, which are consistent with a 1-inch water line, not a 1.5-inch, which means they did repairs. I asked Stephen Nunnery to tell me how many times my water pit was repaired. He told me 3 times, which is consistent with my bills kind of lowering, hiring. I was told that it was weeping, but that's pretty much leaking. But weeping would be consistent when they came to check out the read, because we would be at school, my kids, or work, so we wouldn't be using the water during the day. So most of that water was leaking at night. Every time they came to check the water pit for a read, it was full of water. Even if it was a sunny day, they were constantly out there pumping, tightening the gaskets. Unbeknownst to me, had I known, I would have brought in a professional plumber. So at this point, I brought in specialists from Walpole and received a lot of conflicting information, like the water pit is sinking. So I took pictures with a level, the water pit is not sinking. They said people are driving on it. It's on the side of the street. Water pit's identified. It was also covered in gravel. It's on the grass line. You can see that. I was also told it's your water pit, you need to replace it. I was told, nope, it's your plumbing. These are all by Walpole people. I brought in a specialist from outside of Walpole, and he recommended that I basically get a plumber in and fix it. But I said the plumber, a good plumber and pit excavator did say to me, your pit's fine, but it could last only 3 to 5 years. So I don't want to bring in somebody to repair the line and then have to replace the pit and the line again in 3 years. Makes more sense just to get it done all at once, pay once. So I'm willing to do that, but I would like some recourse for estimates that have been going back since I moved in 2016, because it seems to me, after getting all this information, reading Stephen's analysis, that they've never had good readings, even though they've replaced the meter head twice. Now, if I was notified Immediately when it was leaking, instead of putting on the wrong gaskets or tightening the wrong gaskets, years ago, I would have done what I need to do like I'm doing now. So I'm a single mom. This is a lot of money. So here are the pictures that kind of will negate that there's anything wrong with the pit. It's level. There's nothing wrong with the pit. It's the plumbing. On my affidavit, I would like some recourse to pay for the pit. It's $7,900. If the board feels that that would be fair, I do. It's just been years of neglect and misleading information from the water department. Again, if they had told me right away, it's my responsibility, I would have fixed it. Now it's cost me toilets, shower heads, you know, just because the misinformation and misleading information. So if you read my affidavit, I've outlined it very, very carefully. But you don't even have to read that. You just have to read the Walpole Department's water log, which tells you all the communications and all of the misinformation.
Okay. Any thoughts?
So, going back to this recent billings, she's claiming that the last few bills are not correct. The last 3 bills, which are actuals.
So the last bill, just so you understand, the beginning of the quarter, the gaskets were leaking.
Even this quarter?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then on May 7th, it was leaking. The water department came down. My understanding is, I had a witness. He didn't want to write a letter because he's affiliated with the water department. But he told me the water department guys came down and it was leaking. They tried to tighten the gaskets. They couldn't. It was still leaking. So they borrowed gaskets from the neighbor on 10 Cedar Street. He gave them. They were the wrong size. He told them they were the wrong size. They put them on anyways. And on May 9th, it just flooded out both sides of the meter.
And this is as recent as this last quarter?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So then, when the water department was called that it was leaking, they were called at 6:30 in the morning. I understand the water department doesn't open till 8, so you would hope they would get there for a water leak like that pretty quickly. They showed up at 9:40 and shut the valve off.
Okay. So I think the first thing we have to do is to fix the problem.
So, it's interesting because the meter pit belongs to the homeowner. And so this is past the curb shut off. So if you're on the water main, then we have the shut off, and then it's her property with, like, it's like 5 to 6 feet to the water pit. And then the water meter is inside the pit, which is technically hers. And then the pipe exiting, you know, there's a pipe going in and out of the meter pit belong to the homeowner.
What if they put another meter inside the house, where the main is?
So
starting?
the issue is the connection at the meter.
Mhm.
So for instance, it's just, it won't line up anymore.
Right.
So if you,
No,
if you,
I'm not talking about the pit.
if you read
Assume-
I'm sorry, if you
Yeah.
read my affidavit, I've already given a solution. The
Mhm.
last page, it explains that I will pay for a new water pit, a larger water pit, and the plumbing to be corrected, which is my responsibility. My question is that this water pit, if you look at their notes, since 2012, they have not been able to get good water reads. I'm claiming just 2022 because that's when they replaced the meter head. But Steve Nunnery supplied a letter for tonight, and I realized that this water pit has not been working, this meter head has not been working since 2012.
No, what is the guarantee that the pit will keep on working next 5 years? Because this
So-
is very unusual setup.
Right,
where
so
the yeah.
basically, we have two things going on. We have the water department repairing it with inappropriate gaskets 3 times
Can
in the last 3 years. And that you admitted in your letter, Steve, that you repaired it 3 times, tightening the gaskets. The only reason why you would tighten gaskets if there's a water leak, and replacing gaskets. That's in your letter and your email.
Correct, and I also, I will say, I don't believe our department would observe a leak and leave a leak unattended without notifying either the foreman, myself, or the homeowner the appropriate chain to report a leak.
It was never reported to me. So if you read your own notes, Erin called, and she was told that it was in her home. So that's in your log, not yours because you weren't here, but that's in your department's log.
But we also have no confirmation it was actually in the meter pit either.
I'm sorry?
We have no confirmation it came from the meter pit.
So if you're tightening gaskets and replacing gaskets 3 times per your email since 2022, the only reason that
Do you have
you
those
would do
dates?
that would be if they were leaking.
Okay,
And
let's-
your words were, it was weeping. So respectfully, there's no reason anybody would tighten gaskets unless water was coming out of them.
No, I understand you explained it very well. The thing is, have we solved the problem? Have the department solved the problem of billing you for next 3 months? That's my question.
So, no, the water department hasn't done anything for
So
me.
let's.
So what I have
let's-
done,
yeah.
yeah, so what I
So-
did is, I've got an excavator plumber who's coming out in the second or third week in August. He's going to confirm the date, and I've given that information to Stephen. It's also in your packet with my affidavit to have the water pit repaired. I don't even think that the leak on May 9th was my fault. It was the wrong gaskets used by the person who thought he was doing something good for me, but unfortunately not using the right gaskets caused the flood. And I'm paying $433 for that water leak that leaked over 2.5 hours until the water department came and shut that valve off. So
I understand that. The thing is, what we want to find out, at least, we can't estimate, like, what is your actual uses or what is your average.
well, you
use.
can, because I've had a temporary line since May 9th that's metered. So
Okay. That's what my question was.
so
like,
it's
yeah.
only using 30 cubic feet versus 88 to 126 cubic feet per day.
What is this temporary line?
It is a hose on their neighbor's house, and we put a meter after the neighbor's connection so we can meter it.
Yeah.
So we can deduct off the neighbor's meter when they get billed.
I think you were getting at, Pradeep, was we have to fix the situation so that going forward, we don't have a problem.
I can't do it
And
at the house
I'd be
'cause it's-
inclined to say,
it's
what is your
over
current use? Because normally I go back and look and say, what was your average use?
can't do it.
Let's, assuming that there's no, changes, and use that as the basis. And based on that, we're at 30 cubic feet per day. And that's where I would be leaning. Bases the fact that we really don't have any history that I can believe.
Any real data in the past 10 years, no.
Yeah.
So you moved in, what, this 2016?
Yes, sir,
16.
April of 2016.
In 2017 on, we have all these numbers, estimate,
Made-up numbers, basically.
well, I mean, they're good faith estimates, but the fact is, it's just, I always feel comfortable if you can at least go back to where there's some average, and we don't have that information. And if we've got valid readings recently and it's at 30, I'd be
Well, the other
inclined
thing
to
about
go on
the
that.
depth of the water pit itself,
That has to be
isn't that
fixed.
unusual, that 5 feet? I mean, that's pretty,
This one is a little deeper than the norm. Sometimes, well, typical specs, we have the line come in, it comes up about 2 feet, and the meter's actually about 2 feet down, so you can access it, and then at 90's back down underground. This meter stays flat down at 5 feet.
The other problem is too, that to compound all of this issue, is that when I brought excavators out, numerous of them wrote up, and there's a couple copies of it in the packet, that the sediment and rainwater off of the street is running directly into my pit,
Yeah.
filling it up so that the water is higher than the pit, so that they can't read the readings unless they pump it out. So I think that they were like, well, it's from the rainwater, it's not leaking, it's full of water, but it's not supposed to run off like that. So this has been going on for years, and I think I wish someone had said, hey, your water pit is filled with water, and maybe we pump it out and talk to somebody and let you know that you have a problem, and that we're doing all estimates. And I would have taken care, I work in construction, I would have brought in a guy immediately.
You know, I'd like to ask, I'm just a friend, Erin's also a town meeting member, and she's made me apprised of all this, and like you say, like, it's 30 cubic feet
What is
a
your
day.
name?
David Mellish, precinct 4.
Mellish?
Mellish, yeah, like relish with an L. So, you know, if now she's averaging 30 cubic feet, right, what we saying, a day, that seems to be the only thing that might be even reasonably accurate. Now, what the clerk said here is there a way to eliminate the pit and do a meter in the house? You said something about not lining.
So on services over 100 feet, and your house is set pretty far back, we want the meter pit set up, because that way, if there's a leak along the way from the meter pit to the house, you're more inclined to repair the leak, versus if the meter's in the house and you have a leak down your driveway, you're not paying for it, so you're gonna kind of drag your butt to kind of fix it.
I understand. I understand that as a town person, right, it's the government, you know. what you
But
But
do
Stephen,
that.
you guys kind
So,
of dragged your feet,
I mean,
8 years for a
and-
new water meter.
You know, I'm only helping out, I've had to, like, when she told me the amount of her bills I had duplexes, born in Walpole and everything, and especially not on sewer, the bills were astronomical, and, you know, like you were saying, some of the meters, it seemed reasonable to put 90s in and raise it up, so that it's not down
Yeah,
in the thing, but.
And what makes this meter interesting, it's an 1.5 inch meter. So typically, we only supply 3/4 and 1 inch, so it is a much bigger meter.
Right.
So to have more area to work like that, you need a meter pit that much bigger.
I agree, which is
I-
why
I-
we're looking into a lot
I-
larger one.
You know, I mean, if there's a way to, number one, go back and recalculate at basically what she's using now and somehow give it credit. And would the town be willing to somehow help share in the, whatever it needs to be done to make sure that it's right? So that going forward, I mean, single mom with boys that, you know, don't use a lot of water, whatever. You know, that's, I think,
Every
what
board-
seems to be just fair without getting into the
The
algebra.
comment about the stormwater though concerns me too, because if you're in an older neighborhood that doesn't have any stormwater mitigation, your pit's gonna always get full of water.
Well, I guess I talked to Andrew Han immediately when the excavators told me that there was this problem with the sediment, but Walpole was aware of the sediment problem, the Walpole Water Department was, because they brought in Rich Kadash back in 2012. And he states that there was sediment and he had to dig out the pit. So when Phil and his team and Stephen Nunnery's team go to read the meter pit and they're pumping out, they saw the sediment and they did not feel the need that they needed to. And I think it's because I don't think they really realized that the Walpole regulations state it's the owner's responsibility, but if you're in a 5-foot low pit with a sewer cover that I can't lift and I don't know there's a problem, that's negligent for not following your regulations and notifying me that there's a
Oh,
problem.
no, wait a minute, it's not negligence in the fact, it's your pit,
Yes,
it's
sir.
your contractor, and you put it in.
Well, I didn't put in the
Your
water pit,
property
sir.
did.
I'm not saying negligent.
So the town of Walpole didn't install that. There's
No,
no
no, they
negligence from the
didn't.
town of Walpole.
Absolutely. I didn't install it either. I would have installed it better, sir. Absolutely. I'm not trying to insult you or anybody at this table, but please tell me how I would know there's a $2,000 fine to mess with a water pit. How would I, the water meter, how would I know to go out there and look if Walpole doesn't notify me that there's a problem? How would I know?
Usually when people buy a home, they have a home inspection
I did,
conducted.
sir. Absolutely, I
Well, I
did.
would sue them.
I'm sorry?
You should sue the home inspector.
I don't want to sue anybody. I just want a reasonable solution, and I'm willing to do what's my responsibility. I'm not walking away and saying I'm not going to take care of it. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is if these guys are pulling up that sewer cover and they're emptying it out every quarter, and they're seeing issues and tightening gaskets, do you not think possibly that they should have notified me?
I think,
Well, it's our responsibility to read a meter, I think, and to have a meter that
Yeah.
properly allows for being read. And I accept that part of it. But I like Pardeep's question of a true remedy is to get a meter in the house. Forget your stupid thing about the 100 feet. This is a situation that a pit doesn't work. You're gonna keep digging holes to China, you're not gonna get it, you know, you're gonna throw a lot of bad money after good on
how long do
something.
you think your driveway is? Probably like 250 feet-ish, I would guess, maybe.
I should measure it. I didn't even.
I don't think we want to own an inch and a half.
No, if you want to do something like that, I would say, fine, the official media reading will be at the pit, and and I wouldn't be opposed if I say, yeah, we'll put another meter there at the
In
house.
the house.
And we won't charge for, we won't use that as the reading, but you will be able to say, wait a minute, there's a difference here, and we can investigate, but that,
I
That
just,
sounds
I don't
yeah,
see
I
what
mean, if
reasonable
we could do
that's
that,
possible. Just to verify, I don't know, can the town pressure test? I mean, if she shut off the main in the house and say,
So-
or I guess if she shut off the
but
main in
that,
the
it's
house
the
and it was running.
homeowner's line. I'm just saying, all right, I'm willing to suggest to have a second meter there, so that if there's questions, you'd know they're different.
right.
There's a problem, and it was after the meter pit, we can handle it that. But the first thing is fix the meter pit, the issue that we have there, and then, as I said earlier.
Well, the meter pit will only be, just becomes a shut-off or something now, right?
There's a shut-off before
You're gonna
the
have two
meter pit.
meters.
Yeah, no, there.
And I
there's
do
a
have a shut
shut-off
off in the house.
From the street, then there's a length of pipe,
Yeah, I
then the
understand.
pit.
I know.
And that's the thing that we should be reading. But I'm saying,
Well, is there 200 feet there? Because this picture doesn't look like there's any.
I've
Two.
seen the thing, if you look at Google Maps and whatever, you can see, it sits way back.
Yeah,
My house is way back. It's
Yeah.
literally, you literally have one house on the left, another house on your left, and my house is the third house back. So I would guess that it's probably, unless you ran it through the neighbor's yard, it's probably a good 200 feet.
Does the neighbor have a pit?
Yes, sir. On that photograph that I showed you her pit is right next to mine. Hers is in the middle of the driveway. Mine is the green dot and hers is the red.
We don't have the color,
Is it-
but.
Is it unusual for water runoff to get into the meter that much?
So,
Or, I'm thinking that maybe it was caused by the leak, because I guess the sides
so,
of the pit are
so what's
open.
interesting about her area, so when you go to your driveway, there is a little kind of drainage area, right? It is kind of wet on the right side of your driveway.
Well,
And
they
then-
just put an apron on,
They
like
paved,
6 months
directing it
ago.
down there.
They didn't pave in front of the street, but they put an apron on, and when they put the apron on, and then I mean, it's
Washed
ruining the dirt, and it's just,
You-
and
yeah,
it's
the
running
pictures.
right into my water
We
pit.
do have-
Andrew Hand admitted it was running into the.
We do have meter pits that are wet all the time, yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm trying to look at it as if if the meter pit's fine, the plumbing is, I was told is, because if it's leaking out both sides, then it's pushing those plumbing apart. And that's what Kenny Jones said, that's what Niagara Stefano Plumbing said, that's what Rich Kadash said, then he talked to Phil and it changed. But the thing that I asked for was a larger water pit, because then we can easily maintenance it. And then when I'm excavating for the water pit, I can make sure that they reroute any water off the street away from the water pit. And he's also gonna put a special cover on for me to ensure that excess water doesn't get in. So I'm willing to take responsibility for that, but I wish with no meter reads, and, you know, it says right here, we need to investigate, numbers aren't matching up, can't read the meter, and it's a new meter head. You know, and this has been going on for years, that, you know, it even says at one point, cycle read meter pit, estimate bill for now, 1.5-inch meter, need to maybe ask Phil what to do based on all previous notes. So they were aware that there was a problem. So
But again.
I wish I knew back then and I
It's
would have
not their
fixed it.
problem. They didn't put the wrong metal thing that you couldn't, your contractor, whoever did that pit did it.
Well,
It
they're
isn't
saying it's
ours.
not
It doesn't
wrong.
belong to the town of Walpole.
Well, no, I understand what you're saying, but so if Walpole's regulations are that I'm the owner of that, though, that the water line, the plumbing, and Walpole owns the meter pit, they were working and repairing with the wrong size gaskets my water line without notifying me.
Well, you own the meter pit, they own the meters.
The gaskets are on my water line.
I think, get the meter pit fixed, which you're going to take care of,
Yes, sir.
and hopefully they can fix it in a way that you can open the cover, and I mean, that's all your issues there.
Correct.
Then, I would then say, be inclined to go with the current readings and as what we would base it on. And it's unfortunate that we, like I say, normally I would go back and look at historical. Well, we have no history, that's the problem here.
So are you
The only-
saying, get the meter pit repaired,
Right,
let's say we start measuring September 1st with a real meter read,
yeah.
and then revisit 3 months later, or a month, 2 months, so we have
Well, we
action.
do have the temporary line. Why are we not going off of that?
I would say, look at the, I would go with what we have right now.
Okay,
We will at that point now have good readings, and, you know, the fact that we got, I see 7 years of estimates, I have nowhere to come up with a something that I'd have some faith in.
So Bill, are you suggesting that going back to 11/11/22, use 30 cubic feet times 90, 2,700
I'm-
as a usage reference?
That's what I thought you were saying.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't, we don't have anything to go on other than we,
Yeah, well, let us work on a
Most
proposal.
recent.
We're not gonna figure out tonight. We have a.
Well, I mean, I do appreciate your time. I just,
Yeah, well,
this is not an easy situation, and
we certainly have empathy for you.
Yeah.
We don't intend to have an unhappy customer. But it
I
happens.
appreciate
And you know
you.
construction, so you understand.
Definitely appreciate all your help, and any help you can give me.
Marvelous.
Thank
We'll get back with a proposal and some figures, right?
yeah, let's.
Okay, we'll do that. And hopefully we'll coordinate with the department, so any work that you're scheduling,
We've already
however we can
coordinated.
help out on that, you know.
Absolutely. The person who's excavating has already got in touch with the Walpole Water Department to get registered, show their, you know, all their insurance, et cetera.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I just, for Steve's benefit, do you,
Yeah, you can go out that door.
I've said.
Thank you,
what-
Aaron.
What I'm
See you.
in favor of. Have you two
Thank you.
in agreement with that, or do you have a different proposal?
No, I know she's gonna have the work done. I
She's
just,
gonna pay for the bid.
yeah.
I'm just
But
saying,
we should give
if
her
we
some
had
relief with
any,
those estimates and so forth. That's just I don't wanna, I mean, things happen. I can't believe it went on so long, the estimates.
well, it apparently did.
And I don't think the
So-
meter pit will solve the problem. I think most of the new meters have those radio signals, isn't it?
Well, as Steve said, that if it's 5 feet below, it may not be, we want to be able to read
So I think
the meat of the,
the solution, the good solution will be have the second meter inside the house, or what would
We
that
can
be?
offer her a second meter to put in the house.
Yeah,
yes.
and
Yeah,
get
but
the.
the full understanding, it's up to her to compare the things, and if it's
No, no,
out,
it's owned by her,
then,
Yeah.
like, not,
Yeah, but-
it's not.
And just so everyone's aware, I don't believe our department would,
I don't either,
such a long service.
yeah,
Our SOP would be right away, let's start from the street
yeah.
and work our way up to see what's
But
going
end
on.
up, we're sitting here with a he said, she said, and,
So-
like I say, if we had some
The-
valid
in
historical
general-
data, then I'd
yeah.
feel
In
stronger.
general, if I want to, yeah, sure. In general, if you want to install a private meter in my property, is that allowed?
Sub-meter, yes, yeah.
Sub-meter.
Yeah, oh, yeah, so like 95 West sub-meters, or some landlords that sub-meter.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, a lot of
So, yeah, so
condos.
just go with that option and, let them,
We typically don't supply the sub-meters.
yeah, of course, they,
But
yeah.
in this case,
Yeah, normally, because a lot of condos, they get the one bill and then they divide it up,
Even the
with their
new-
own internal
Yeah,
meters.
the new like smart meters, they're coming Wi-Fi, you have to install yourself
Yeah.
through the
Yeah.
plumbers, so at least that can give a good, option.
Do you know what coil size? Can you read this?
it's not in our details. I think, it's an EJP model, I wanna say, that we spec out. That doesn't have,
Yeah,
we can lift it,
the
up.
Ford ones have the coil that sits underneath, so you can pull it up and service it, and then.
This-
EJP made,
This one's just difficult because it's an inch and a half.
yeah, so they, you have to downsize to a 1 inch too.
Yeah, it's really,
There-
it's really.
There's another problem, isn't it, the 1.5, she has to pay more meter charges.
It is what it is.
She's
you
got
know.
3 times the volume available.
Yeah, the
Well-
fixed
Anyways,
so we are ready for the 6:45,
Yep,
Yeah.
we have Wesson and Sampson.
sorry for the delay.
Do you mind if I steal the mouse and then I'll?
It's that bottom one, Scott.
So, Tony Capichetti, I work at the Weston and Sampson Reading office, I'm a civil engineer, have a background in water distribution, actually ran a couple of water departments before, going back to, the private side of things. Just kinda wanted to give you a status on the MWRE connection. We're wrapping up 25% design. We are set to be advertised in MIPA, shortly for the extended environmental notification form. We've prepared an updated schedule. Had a little bit of a slow start, but we're submitting 2 weeks ahead on the extended environmental notification form. Some preparations for upcoming town meetings and where you stand on working towards an intermunicipal agreement. So 25% design, the actual pump house structure and the design of the civil engineering site design connections is completed. In the future, we'll integrate into the Fields project. We're trying to keep this separate, so the way we've designed it is the pump house stands alone, the fields aren't constructed yet. We don't want to get into the issue because there are wetlands filings that are associated with the fields. So we want to make sure that as far as going through MIPA right now, they look at them as separate projects because we're able to keep your disturbance completely out of the buffer zone, not require any notice of intent. The water main work is considered either an exempt or limited project. So trying to stay out of any environmental permitting that makes us look better in front of MIPA when getting the review.
The fields have a wetland.
So the fields have a detention pond that go into the 100-foot buffer zone. That's kind of where we're seeking to site that, and as I go forward, I can show you.
But the detention pond isn't related to a pumping station.
So you need a small detention pond to be compliant with Mass Stormwater Handbook, Mass Stormwater Standards, but that can be located outside the 100-foot buffer zone. Their detention pond, from rough calcs, should be able to absorb this project without us having to do anything. But as far as moving forward until we get to like 65% design, we want to identify these as separate projects for the purposes of permitting, just so we don't muddy the waters. And if they marry the two projects, then they'll start looking at the entire disturbance areas, and it just takes us down a separate path that you shouldn't be responsible for. So that's why we're trying to keep them separate at this early stage. The structure itself is pretty simple, metal roof, some detailing, so it's not horrible to look at from the street, clapboard siding, it'll be concrete clapboard. It's a 900 square foot structure, accessible unisex bathroom in the back corner, just kind of a 3D rendering.
Can I just, we have to have a bathroom. Is it because of the size of the building or
The
what?
2024 Massachusetts Plumbing Code now requires any structure greater than, I believe, 200 square feet in floor area to have a bathroom in it.
And I guess the thing, it looks like an awful lot of empty space. When I've gone to some of our wells, Washington 6, you go in there, over in one corner is the well, they've got a couple pipes, and the rest of it is empty. Is there
Well, there used to be a
no?
generator there, right, Scott?
So, yeah, the generator will be external on this.
It's
This
gonna
is-
be an external generator.
No, Washington 6 used to be a generator.
No, I'm just saying
Yeah.
that,
There'll be,
it seems like,
there'll be multiple pumps on the floor in the pump station here, and then a control panel and SCADA system.
there's no way to
Well,
get
what
this.
what about the fact the building isn't gonna be occupied?
It doesn't, so you can ask for a waiver, I haven't seen anyone get successful. You have to have a publicly accessible bathroom that is controlled by the same ownership entity within 400 feet.
So I was hoping that it wasn't 200 feet was the limit, it was like 4, and I'd say somehow fit it in, but the
It's-
fact that it's going to be like less than, well, almost 20% of.
Yeah, 200 square foot building wouldn't work for a
Yeah.
pump station.
Too
And
bad.
that's
Well, there's
been,
no public access, there is no public in this building.
No,
public's
it's-
ever going in here.
so it's
There
no-
should
it's-
have public access.
it's only for employees, so the plumbing code.
I mean, it
is-
is what it is, John. I mean, we can appeal, and as you're saying,
I
go
haven't-
ahead and do it, and you'll lose.
I haven't seen one successful yet, but it's only been a year and a half since this
Does
is,
the Sharon pump station have a bathroom in it?
we actually had to redesign to put a bathroom in because of the code change.
Yeah.
We've run into that on a number of sites that were basically bid out, and then the code change came in, and because the building permits weren't pulled in time, we had to go back and accommodate restrooms. And the plumbing board was not sympathetic.
Okay.
From what I'm being told, a lot of it's for like subcontractors that we may have on site, you know, working a
Yeah.
half-a-day job. That's why this kind of came about, to make sure that they have
Right,
They
bathroom
got porta
facilities.
potties.
yeah.
Yeah, I see them, in a lot of concerts that they bring in a porta potty. We could be happy to bring in a porta potty
Oh, yeah.
if there was a subcontractor issue, but
So,
it's a moot
Yeah, it's-
question now. I was hoping that we were like, 10 feet over or something. I'd say, well, just redesign it but to go from 900 down to 200 is not gonna happen.
no,
So-
it's,
Sorry to interrupt.
no, not a problem. So the site design, we stay outside the 40-foot side yard setback with the 30 by 30 building. We meet all the zoning requirements. There's an excessive width, 26 feet for a driveway coming in, but that is the zoning requirement. And then provide 3 spaces. There's an existing kind of swale or existing flow pattern that comes across here. So what we've done is we've dipped the driveway down. The existing flow will pass through a small rain garden that's also will handle all the flow from the roof, as well as the driveway. And right here is the 100-foot buffer zone, so this keeps you outside of any need for notice of intent for the pump station, and also because the stormwater's set back 100 feet from the wetlands, has overland flow, you get some low-impact design credits too that look good for the environmental review process that we're going for now. To coordinate with what's going on for the fields, we would slide the building back just slightly, take out, they have about 4 or 5 spaces here. We would take the last 2 spaces, extend them into a gated parking area. We won't need a stormwater area because it can be accommodated in this area here. However, if it becomes a dispute, a small stormwater area up front could work to handle all the flows. Shrinks the footprint down, works right into the site, still maintains us for our disturbance outside of the 100-foot. So those would be the modifications that, after we get our E and F decisions back from the board, we would change those in the EIR if it's required.
Is there any perimeter safety required, like?
So we would have a 8-foot-high security fence that goes around the pump station. I think we can go down as low as 6 foot if that's preferred. I think that's all that's required
Okay.
under the DEP guidelines. We'd maintain about 6 feet around the perimeter. That would allow you, if you needed to get back there with a mini or anything, plus lawn mowing equipment. Probably also provide a gate on this end as well, just to get back to the generator, should you need anything. And the generator's tucked away, so it's kind of hidden from the street as they're entering the park. So the E&F filing, I just did QA/QC on it this morning. We're all set to be advertised in the August 8th Environmental Monitor, so that'll be filed by this Thursday. The decision period for an E&F is 37 days by code. However, they have typically extended it to 90 days for interbasin transfers, especially when there's what's called an EJ, or environmental justice community, within 5 miles of the filing. And that's the case here for the project. So that would put us for a decision in early December for our EE&F. But if they don't extend it, and we've gone through the past 2 decisions that were extended, and looked for all the causes and reasons and tried to address them in the EE&F to be preemptive. We've noted that this project has, we did the pre-filing for environmental justice, but this project has appeared, or MWRA connection discussion has appeared on your agenda for several months going back, and those are publicly posted agendas, so we've noted that in our filing as well, to show that there's been an ongoing approach of public outreach and public notification.
I have a question on the interbasin transfer. Anybody who's connecting a project like this, and Sharon,
Yeah.
I had the same issue, I assume. Do they ever deny, if you're connecting into the MWRA system, anybody, they're in like a basin, and there's basins everywhere
So
else. It would think either it's always no, because we don't want to, transfer water from one basin to the other, or hey, you can't do it without. So the answer is always yes.
There's not a lot of denials, and those denials are usually very specific reasons. The reason you have to go through this process is just the fact that the Interbasin Transfer Act,
Right.
and it's more, the concern's usually more the reverse. If you wanted to dispose of your effluent someplace else,
Yeah.
that generally has issues, but connecting to the MWRA supply, one of the items that we're pointing out is that because there are a lot of septic systems in Walpole, that it was noted, I believe, in your Water Management Act, that on heavy withdrawal days, you're supposed to be mitigating to the maximum extent practicable and promoting infiltration. So we're trying to state that, by having on these high flow days, this interconnection where you can draw water from the MWRA supply, you can reduce your pumping needs on those days, as well as the additional infiltration from that interbasin transfer will help recharge the aquifer that you rely upon.
Do they have, when I looked at the Burlington's and Ashland's Water Resources Commission's report, they talked like they were looking at, do you need this, or you should be able to,
So
investigate this area. Does that come in with the interbasin transfer in that, no, you don't need to get a interbasin transfer? You've got water in your current,
It does come into that to some extent. However, the way we see it is you're very close to your Water Management Act permit. And they've moved that Water Management Act permit downward in the last revision.
Right.
That's because the basin you're drawing from is stressed.
right.
Drilling more wells in the same stress basin is not gonna,
It's not gonna
Accomplish
make it
your
less
need.
stress, that's for sure.
and it's not providing redundancy, which is one of the prime issues here. If you ever have an issue with contaminants in your well field, with the system,
Yeah.
being able to pull off of the MWRA supply makes you a resilient source, makes you able to serve your clients.
So we have mitigation to why that they should be able to say yes, even though looking,
That's-
they'd say, ooh, over there, you're not using all your water and.
Right. So that's, you know, if you were a surface water supply, there might be some argument if you had excess capacity in the surface water supply.
Yeah,
Groundwater is a pretty limited situation where just sinking more wells in the same
yeah.
aquifer doesn't, it's like adding more pumps to the same,
Yeah.
Surface water
But
supply. It's-
Leah had said that this was potentially problematic because of.
The-
you have a
So
site-
having that well, but what we're trying to do is frame it in that this is more for redundancy and resiliency.
Okay,
You have PFAS issues.
so we are addressing that, because
Yes.
I always think it's better to answer questions before
That-
they're brought, rather than
that's-
waiting. You get to basically phrase the question and answer it, as opposed to letting them
That's why I spent some time going through the last two reports that they've
Good.
issued and decisions, trying to say, hey, let's make sure we address this, let's make sure
Yeah.
we address this,
All right,
to
all right,
to
I'll
move
try
forward.
not to interrupt on this
Oh, no, not a
slide.
problem. So this is
I
the,
will on the next, I'm sure.
this
That
is the
last-
updated schedule.
Yeah.
And you have a copy, but I believe there was a copy in the folder here, which may make more sense to,
Well, it's-
I'd like you to go back to that last slide if you could for a second. There's
Sure.
something on there. TBI, what was that?
uh,
I think that was
that's the
Uh,
interbasin transfer that
interbasin
we were
transfer.
talking
So
about.
that's the,
IBT.
IBT,
Yeah.
yep. So that's anytime you're moving large quantities of water in excess of 1 million gallons a day, either into or out of the larger overall watershed that you exist in, you have to obtain one of these interbasin
We're in the
transfer
Neponset
permits.
watershed, and obviously the
Yeah. It's a Swift-
Quabbin is,
Swift River watershed. is
yeah, it's in
what
a
it's-
totally different one, and
And all our neighbors are interbasin transfer with the MWRA as well.
Correct.
Canton,
And a lot of so the alternatives we looked at, a lot of the neighboring supplies that aren't MWRA are drawing from the same aquifer. So you're not getting that relief to the aquifer by tying into those communities. So we try and frame that the MWRA is really your only option to provide a redundant supply. Let's see. So, that's the schedule. So, notice to proceed came about a
Can we
month.
blow that up any more?
yeah, we have it.
Yeah,
Not
well, I guess
package
we
here.
have it here, yeah. let me just-
Yeah, if you're on the far right, you get the option to make it a full screen.
So I think these are probably the most important. The nice little Gantt chart really doesn't matter too much. So, we're just wrapping up 25% design, as I said. Once we get that filed, we'll begin the 65% design process.
I have a question
Sure.
on that. When they were building this facility, I can see at 25%, you've got it, and then, you make changes. It seems that this is such a simple thing.
So,
Why is there, you
So
would,
25% is really just the functional layout. We've noted what we're anticipating for pumps. The 65% design will start sizing pumps, identifying controls, that sort of thing. So it's more, the 65% is more what's going on inside the building.
right,
The external design, there'll be some changes in that we'll prepare some permitting documents
Yeah,
for it as we get closer to 65% for local entitlements, but there's not much from what you've seen on the architectural. Towards the end of the 65%, the architectural will have a structural go through, but this is a building that's been built many times before.
well, that's what
so
I'm
it's-
thinking.
yeah,
It
it's-
seems like it's very simple. What-
Yeah. So 65% is more, once we get closer to knowing that ENF is gonna go through, the EIR does require us to have the pumps, the controls, all the interior, the electric demand. So that's more the 65% design process. So we'll start compiling that information and continue our discussion back and forth as we go through the process. And that's why it's such a long process, is that, you know, we'll be touching base, but we probably won't get really deep into it until we start approaching that mid-September standpoint, where it looks like, hey, maybe they aren't gonna extend us, they haven't notified us, so let's ramp it up. Or they are gonna extend us, and then it might push out to like October, but
Yeah.
just kind of a slow progress, so we're not behind the eight ball, but, so that's why 65% is so long. And then the 65 to 90, which is basically your pre-bid documents for final review, is only a 60-day turnaround. And then the 45 days on construction docs, the biggest issue on those is usually coordinating with purchasing for when it can be advertised, the front-end bid docs. So it's not a lot of design process so much as it is coordinating with getting those documents out, notified, advertised properly, and lining that up. So the interbasin transfer, once we submit the ENF, letter will go out the following day saying that we've applied for it to the Water Resources Commission, so it's on their radar. And then as we get into September, if it looks like the EENF is not gonna be extended, we're gonna prepare the EIR. So that is the next document level. We've asked for a single EIR. That is not a waiver that's typically granted, but we asked for it anyways, and again, we went through the reasons why, the reasons they've typically denied are for the EJ population. We've gone through stating how this has been discussed for over a year now
Yeah.
with public meetings. So once we pull that EIR together, we want to be able to pull the trigger, make that filing, and then this happens, the public hearing happens after the EIR is decided on. So that has no extension. So that is a 37-day period. We could get the decision back on as early as February 4th. Again, this is assuming the 90-day. So this could move up considerably if we don't, if we aren't asked to extend that review period.
Who's approving the EIR? Same,
Same, so it's the Executive Office of Environmental Affairs, EEA. So the ENF, as I said, we've prepared, ready to file. That filing will be official on Thursday with the signing off on the environmental monitoring ad. The review period, 37 days, bring you to mid to the end of September. If they extend it to 90, you're looking at about December 4th. EIR, we're looking at, as soon as we get the comments back, beginning preparation. And even still, the agency comments should be back by the end of September. So we can address the agency comments, which would be your Water Resource Commission and MWRA. So we can definitely work on a fairly complete draft at that point in time. And then, like I said, the EIR review period is 37 days. The sooner this date that we can get it filed moves up, the sooner we can get a decision. MWRA approval, we're looking at after you get your Water Resource Commission filing done and public hearing process, which is a 90-day wait period in July, MWRA has basically, it's 66 work days, it's 90 calendar days to make it, render a decision. They usually move a little bit faster than
have others, are there others who are ahead of us and has the MWA approved anyone making a connection
So-
under this no entrance fee, you know, where there was a reason for people?
There are some that are ahead of us. I don't know that they've made their final decisions yet. I know, I believe it's Weymouth is wrapping up their process. So they were one of the more recent E and F, EIR decisions to come out. I'd have to look in a little bit further on the MWRA decision process.
In the MWA's procedures, the Operation Policy Number 10, you know, it talks about the legislature, the town meetings, it's on here, the legislature, the governor signing, which, those things seem to be formalities, and then MWA approves, but it seems odd that, you know, you wouldn't go to the legislature and the governor without already having the approval.
So I think I'd have to review that process a touch more. I think those are more formalities to let you go, kind of like Article 97.
Well, yeah, I'm sure
land
they
disposition,
they are being a formality.
So before you actually get signed off, if you're doing like Article 97 land disposition, you have to get the legislature to say it's okay, because
Yeah,
it's a government entity that set aside the land, and I think it's the same situation on MWRA, that it's a quasi-government agency that was set up under the
Yeah.
legislature, so they approve, and then the MWRA checks off that box. Springtown meeting, I penciled in using the same kind of spot on the calendar. It was the first Monday in May. I'm assuming it's about the same. I think that town meeting, you'll have enough information that you could get a solid construction cost price in front of town meeting, which I think is gonna be your biggest issue on getting some sort of approval at town meeting is, if you went now in October, I think the question's gonna be, how much is it gonna cost us? That seems to be what it always comes down to with these sort of things. And until you know through that, at least the EE and F process, as to what requirements are gonna be there, it'd be very hard to
Yeah.
pin something down. So, once you get that expanded E and F back, we can provide a design and a pretty tight cost proposal versus right now at 25%. They may require additional treatment based off of water mixing, and that sort of thing, depending on how we operate. So we gotta see what sort of comments come back, and that will affect, the price. Notice of intent, it would be after we have EIR approval. They would be perfunctory in that there is an exemption in the state. There is a requirement under the local, however, all work that's subject to local jurisdiction is within the paved right-of-way. So we're arguing that you're basically restoring it back to the existing condition. It's just that the local bylaws don't have that exemption if you're installing public utilities in a paved right-of-way. The state says, well, provide adequate erosion control, and we're all set. We understand it's paved, it's already disturbed. The locals usually leave that exemption out. They like to have a little bit of control, but I don't see that being a huge issue. The 90 days is inclusive of, you file, they have to advertise 10 days before, you have your first meeting, hopefully it closes your first meeting, then they have 21 days to issue the order of conditions, and then a 10-day appeal
Is
period.
that the Conservation Commission?
That's Conservation Commission on an order of conditions. So that's why we're holding that out at 90 days. It could be shorter than that, especially if the agents are in support, don't have a lot of conditions. They can usually pull out an order of conditions in 5-7 days. It's not and then at that point in time, we would most likely bid in advance of the town meeting. So you have hard costs, know what your funding is, and then go into town meeting. That was, I believe, the third Monday. this year, so we're holding the third Monday as well. So that's where the schedule stands now. As we go through each phase, I put this into the scheduling software so I can start updating as we get results, and then it'll populate the dates all over again, based off of these timelines.
So you're representing Weymouth, right? You're doing.
No, I am not representing Weymouth. I've just been following it because it's the most recent one, and I've been,
I thought your company was, though.
I'll have to check with
Yeah, I
Leah on
think-
that
I
one.
think-
That's,
Leah says she's involved.
okay, if Leah's involved in it, then
Yeah.
that's,
But the one thing we also have to have is the town administration finish up a understanding agreement with Norwood,
Yeah.
just so
So-
we have that memorialized.
I think it's one of your slides,
it
right?
is, that's the schedule update. So this just kind of goes through 65%. Water Resource Commission notification goes out at the INF, then we discussed all of this. Schedule's been accommodated to adjust the springtime meeting, and then the intermunicipal agreement needs to be executed prior to the system being placed online. But I would say hard negotiations, like trying to come to a memorandum of understanding, would be a good item to have to submit to the Water Resource Commission post EE&F. So once we get back from the EE&F results, what the MWA is gonna require, what the Water Resource Commission may require, that gives you some standing as well when you go to negotiate with Norwood, saying, hey, you have this whole list of improvements that you're saying. Which ones are truly needs, which ones are wants? We're on the hook for this in addition to what we're building. So it gives you at least some fodder for negotiation, rather than going in saying, we're building this, and they're gonna say, well, you have no other impact, so we want all this
Yeah.
work done. So,
Well, I don't want to renegotiate that. I mean, that's going backwards. We've already been there. We've been in this 3 years.
so if you already have a,
Well, we just need our town administrator to follow up. We've already had meetings with them. They've came here,
So-
we went there.
so I don't,
Engineering department met, the water people met, we met, we got a
So-
price from them, their engineer came here, explained the deal.
so,
So now we have to get our administration to get it on a piece of paper. It's not the final agreement, but it's a,
you're right, so just a memorandum of
agreement.
understanding that,
so we have that locked in. I don't want to go backwards trying to
Nope.
renegotiate things.
so if that's all taken place, does the commission retain its own counsel, or do you use town counsel for your
We
legal?
use town council, we don't.
So
So-
far, yeah.
So I would say, through town council, get a memorandum of understanding drafted that is somewhat binding in that, provided that, your current situation is X and their situation is X, when everything goes through, that would stay the same. I mean, obviously, it gives you, if there's a catastrophic issue with Norwood system that changes things, it would give them an out, and it would also give you an out if MWRA was, but having that in place before we go to the Water Resource Commission, I think would be
Well,
worthwhile.
it's important for us
So-
because our votes here, we're dependent on the
Yeah.
agreement and the economics of it.
So-
If someone has the right to blow that up later, then we just wasted a lot of your time and our time doing nothing.
Right, and,
So I'm not interested in that,
Chairman, I want to make a motion that we ask the town council to make the MOU. What he's
Sure.
gonna ask.
I,
Asked the town administrator to
Yeah.
ask.
Yes.
Yeah.
To deal with town.
To-
Well, the
Yeah,
town
town
administrator will ask,
administrator.
he's not gonna write it. The town administrator will get us a
But,
draft from the town council, I guess.
Yeah, so my motion is that the town administrator get a MOU drafted for negotiation with Norwood.
Yeah, I wouldn't say negotiation, MOU
MOU
Yeah.
about
To
the
get
that.
terms of our understanding with.
Get it defined.
right.
Yeah, get
Yes.
it defined.
Okay, I'll second that. Any discussion? All in
Ready,
favor?
say aye.
Aye,
Aye.
3-0.
Okay.
So that's where we're at for status update. I hope that was somewhat helpful for you, and I'll
Yes.
continue to answer any questions you have to the best of my ability.
Well,
Well, I
it's a
mean, I
small-
do have a question, but it's unrelated to
It's a
us.
swampy area that we're dealing with all these environmental agencies. It's like no beginning and no end. They'll let you run as long as you put
So-
up with it.
Well,
So presumably you guys have been through the dance enough times that
Yes,
you
and
know how
that's-
to expedite, because we're not, we're not interested in doing this for another 3 years. We'd like to get this,
no, that's
Done.
understood, and that's why I'm trying to be forthcoming in that we're asking for these items of relief in, maintaining a 37-day review, filing a single EIR instead of a draft and final. Historically, they don't grant them, but we're still trying. We're trying to address those. Every time they issue a decision, they state their reasons why they're denying, so we're trying to incorporate that just to have justification for getting that relief. So it's not that we're not trying, it's just historically, we haven't seen it happen. So we're trying to keep this moving as quickly as possible.
Tony, with this schedule and bidding of fall town meeting 26,
That's,
does it seem like sensible to say we could be pumping water by summer of 27?
it's not a huge job. I would think the
The
restricting factor would be the
spring construction.
spring
late winter-
construction.
Late winter.
For Walpole, you could waive your winter construction requirements if it's mild. It's just whether Norwood would do the same. I think the Norwood construction, where you don't have as much control, could be the limiting factor for that.
Okay.
So that's my only fear. If you can control it, I think that's a reasonable timeline for your work. It's coordinating with another municipality that,
So possibility pump station up, just the Norwood connection
might,
piping.
so you could be connected in, it would just be their system upgrades that might slow you down before you go.
Which we're kind of
online.
under the assumption that they're gonna do at their pace.
That's, yes, otherwise,
yeah.
with the amount of work that they're doing, we'll be old and gray. Well, we already are, for most, some of us,
Right.
before they get it all done.
And that just may
But-
limit
but
you to,
That's not preventive us being operative. That's just,
right, you
they're
may
gonna be
not,
improving their infrastructure as, we're gonna hook up, and they're gonna be improving Pleasant Street and so
Correct.
forth.
and,
you know.
and it may be, you're only
Won't
able to get
involve us.
500,000 gallons a day until they've done X, Y, and Z. And then, but, in theory, you could go live and just limit the flows based off of what their model's showing. And their model drops were not horrendous. We were talking 5 to 7 PSI with both Walpole, and I forget the other community that draws through Norwood for their connection, both pulling 1 million gallons a day, and then a nominal drop in fire flow protection. So it wasn't like it was catastrophic on their end. It was a decrease in their service levels, but it wasn't taking them outside of standard practices for water supply.
Okay. All right, we all set with Tony? Well, thank you,
No,
thanks for
thank you, I
coming in.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll look forward to this, and, yeah, I guess, I was planning on doing some kind of presentation at this fall town meeting, but maybe we'll wait till you have more, all the bells and whistles.
I would, just because I think that the question's gonna be the price, and then you're stuck with that. So, town meetings can say, well, how much is this gonna cost? And you say, well, at this design stage, it's gonna cost X million dollars, and then you come back, even if it's X million plus $1, it's gonna cause you all sorts of headaches.
If you guys are up there educating, just, the philosophy is, it isn't about price at all. I mean, these people pay $1.50 for a gallon of water at the supermarket. We produce it for less than a penny. So whether it's 0.7 of a penny or 0.6 of a penny for the next gallons,
Oh,
there's no cost to them. We have our capital budget, we fit this right into our
Yeah.
our capital budget. So it's not,
no, it's,
they don't need to look at it that way. It's not like we're adding $12 million to your.
no, it's true,
operating
too.
budget or
As an
something.
enterprise fund, you're self-sufficient. And, it's just, I've always found it hard even trying to argue, mainly with, I've dealt with it mainly in cities, but it's always a cost that they don't understand it's rate driven, and the tap water is probably the cheapest. You know,
Cost
clean
out of
tap
their
water is-
pocket,
is-
we're gonna have a capital improvement fee that's gonna be an annual fee of just under $30, about $30 per
Yeah,
service.
That's cutting back on maybe 2
That's
cases
a
of
couple
water a year.
lattes from the
But-
coffee shop.
Well, thanks.
No, thank you very much. Anything else comes up, by all means, just have Steve shoot me an email, and I'll do my best to address it, and we'll keep this moving forward for you.
Okay, Tony,
All right,
thanks again.
Thank you again.
Yes.
Thank you.
We have something here from,
We have comment request from,
request on bid cars. Now that, I thought that was
Lonnie.
Patrick's.
It's not in the aquifer area. My thought, this is out in Route 1, sort of across the street.
from Walmart.
Yeah,
I drove by there and stopped by.
Yeah.
Scott, I put the plan on the folder. So they're proposing a 3,500 square foot detached garage for service, I'm assuming of service of their new vehicles, maybe get them prepped for sales. Carl provided some comments. They're gonna modify the common sewer to join with the existing sewer. Couple of my own comments. The building, it's served by a kind of a funny water service, 2 3/4 inch taps combined into an 1 1/4 inch service into the existing building by a 3/4 inch meter. I'd like them to clean that up. They're also showing the detached building sharing that same service. We need them to run a separate service to this new building.
They got a ton of cars stored in that lot now, right? They're all
They're
parked
like
all over.
used cars. They're
Yeah.
it's kind of like Carvana slash something like this. smaller
I'd make a
car.
motion that we concur with the town engineer's comments, plus your comments, are the comments that we make to the planning board. So I'd make that in the form of a motion.
Okay,
I second that.
moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that was easy. 300. Now, let's see, we have correspondence. I rules and regulations. Oh my God, and Patrick isn't here, huh?
But it really is just changing, on page 2, we're changing item B.
Yes, Rick went ahead and made this modification for you guys to review. So in Article 5, Section D, Section 1, Subsection B, which is page 9, second page for you guys, he has striking out the residential properties. It's in red, striked out. And then in the new section, which is bold below it, any person, entity adding over 15,000 gallons per day using Title V calcs to follow the fee schedule.
15,000 gallons a day, how does that translate in number of units or number of? Oh, there
So
is
it's-
no residential developments it doesn't apply to?
So we struck out the residential properties, but it's any person or entity. So if it is a large
Condo.
housing plot complex, you know, with,
Yeah.
you know, 400
Well, that's what I
units.
said, 15,000 gallons per day would be,
Well, it ends up being by the number of bedrooms is how the thing is.
Title
So,
V calcs.
and, you know, depending on the type of development, they would try and minimize 3 bedrooms, because that means that there's probably gonna impact on schools, and, you know, in the end, it comes down to the number of bedrooms.
how many gallons per
I believe it's
bedroom?
110 per bedroom on Title V. So just some quick math, it's about 136 bedrooms,
Yeah. okay.
2.5
Yeah.
bedrooms, 54 units.
Okay,
So,
That's how
All
it
right.
breaks down.
well, I'd make a motion that we change our Article 5 to agree with what was presented, that basically the change to Article 5, Section, what is it? Is that an I or,
looks like a section I.
yeah, however we, and then subsection B, I guess,
Right,
replacing.
I'll second that. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that was good. 2025 town meeting memo.
What are we gonna have for capital items on the fall town meeting?
So it's still in review with administration, but I slimmed down on the water side. I think we're right around $4.5 million. Just a quick summary, little over 2 million on meters. Sorry, scratch that. On water, little over 1 million on meters, 1.3 million for water main. The well improvements over at 5 and 6 came to about 1.5. And then there's some smaller miscellaneous articles to take care of some pump station improvements, some more engineering for more groundwater exploration behind Washington 4 and Ponds 1, but it's right around 4 million-ish on water, 4.5. Sewer is about a little over 2 million. A big chunk of that is from the lagoon project that went over bid this past year.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, the bids came in, Scott, with about 3.4 million, and we only had about 2 million appropriated. So that's to cover the rest of that. So we're hoping once administration approves, hopefully next meeting be in front of you guys. But that's kind of where we stand right now. We are definitely having capital on fall town meeting, Bill, water and sewer.
Okay,
Okay,
so we have then the memos here on
Pumping,
water pumped.
the numbers looks going up, 284. And the revenue numbers.
And we have also the revenue numbers.
yeah, these are usually at the end of fiscal year. These numbers slightly change when Jody gets through with whatever, but basically they're in the ballpark. This would be what's ending the fiscal year. And the official water retained earnings numbers usually come available in August, so hopefully by our next meeting, we'll know exactly what the retained earnings, both sewer and water is.
One thing I will note for the board, one of our biggest septic haulers just sold his company, All Seasons.
Oh,
He sold the Bay State sewage, so he was, I did a quick June look at, he was 70% of our revenue there. The new company has not registered with us. I was gonna reach out next month, if he has to reach out to us, just to make him aware. But I believe he's based out of Taunton. So we're already kind of surprised when he sold, and then Bay State wasn't, utilizing his permit or bringing anything to us.
All Seasons,
Kevin Orlando?
Orlando, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked to him a few times.
Yeah, we believe he's still doing Title V inspections, but as for the hauling and waste part, he's kind of pulled out of
And who bought it again?
Bay State.
Bay State. Oh,
Yeah.
well, yeah, we'll have to talk to them.
Yeah,
Sure.
I plan on reaching out, making them aware of what we offer, and I'm sure Kevin told them,
yeah.
so.
Yeah, we're gonna work with you on that too, because you might be a
So
little.
if they disappear, we weren't counting that in our budget. And I know that's the smallest part of,
Yeah.
the MWA thing is huge, but there was a certain amount of that. money.
I was surprised in June, they were 70% of our intake, so.
The thing that confounds that is that they're hauling and they have waste from one town, they can't.
Yeah, and what is it,
Go to
Wind
the other.
River's offering coupons to,
Yeah.
lower and they just haul it, God knows where, but they're not using our place.
So we're gonna have to do some marketing on that, if we figure out what's
Well,
gonna be needed.
I think a lot of it is the paperwork through MWRA. Like, we hear about new haulers getting a truck, and the truck sits and waits while they wait on a sticker from MWRA, and the paperwork to register, inspections. It adds a whole nother layer than just driving to a facility and paying.
But Wind River goes elsewhere. If this is a big outfit, and I don't have any idea whether they are or not, it could mean it's just gone. That money that 70% of the
It could be.
revenue is
if-
just gone.
If they already have a deal somewhere else, yeah.
And if they are, I wonder if we could get out of the business totally.
We have in the past. We mothballed it for a while.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I think they were, like Boston had some arrangement that we would take their occasional
I know
thing,
there's only
and
a
I think
couple
that-
of us left, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what, I'm just wondering if we could, you know, basically get out of that business and we sign up with some place that, yep, that's where the septage goes, not to our facility.
Well, could we require that septic from Walpole has to go to our facility?
I don't know that you can require that, but that, I would think that if it got small enough, just get out of the business and that you basically have an agreement with Taunton or whatever that, that's, you know, like we have one with Boston, and we get a load a year or something. And certainly with Walpole, there'd be a lot more, but,
Yeah.
you know,
Okay, so, old business MWA water connection, we pretty much talked about that. Jarvis Farm, anyone have anything on that?
No update. Rec Department summer camp continues. Nothing unusual down there.
Meters to cash report?
We are currently working through cycles 4, 5A, 5B, 6, and 14. Scheduled to go out 8/4. We're still working towards a 90-day billing, and we are a 30-day turnaround. We are putting billing stuffers in the current bills going out with the new meter charge. So as everyone sees the bills, there's gonna be a little explanation. And the office is all prepped for if someone wants to call, we can kind of explain the new charge in the fiscal year.
have we gotten any calls?
Not that have made it to me. I asked about a few days ago. I think the bills just hit in the past week.
Well, I know that Cycle 20 is the first one, which is
Commercial.
primarily commercial,
Yeah.
so a lot of that is, it's a bill and you
Yeah.
pay, but Cycle 1s, 2s, and 3A and 3B are residential, and you would think that somebody in there,
The office had, you know, we prepped the office. They haven't mentioned much, so.
you might want to check with the collector's office, because people come in and
Yeah.
they don't have to go upstairs, they
Yeah.
go in, I'm paying, and what is this?
I'll talk to Lisa and see if they.
Yeah.
So, question, like, I received this first bill of this calendar
in
year.
cycle
but-
one.
Yeah, and this is for the meter reading, 315 to 615. And still has, meter charges.
Because the bill went out in July, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
bill is July date. So is that the case? Everyone will be paying in July for the last?
It's when the bill went out,
Yes, it's when
that
The-
was what was decided.
was decided, any bill that goes out after July 1st will have the meter charge.
Okay, and how will make sure that no one is charged more than 4 quarter?
So, each cycle is only billed 4 times a year.
Yeah, which is correct, but
Yeah.
sometime there may be slippage, isn't it?
They-
Not the way the billing system's
No.
set up, we have to select by quarter,
Okay,
so,
And for the last few years, it has been consistent. Once we got to the point where we were basically.
no,
getting-
I'm asking about the charges. Are the charges set up per quarter
yes.
in the billing system?
Yes,
So even if you're charging me today, or let's say July 1st, end of the year, 30th June, it should not be charging more than 4 times, isn't it?
yes, so, for instance, your next bill should be, was it 3 months from now?
No,
Yeah.
which is random, but does the billing system, the rate has been entered as a quarterly rate? That's my question.
Say that again?
In the billing system,
Yeah.
this $8.85 rate,
Mhm.
are they entered as a quarterly rates?
Not as, it's entered as a miscellaneous charge.
Per
And
quarter?
then, per quarter, and
Mm.
then anytime a bill is generated, which we do quarterly, that charge is automatically populating.
You'll
into
have a
it.
type code. In your case, you have 100 for residential, 200 for sewer, and you'll have an 800 or 805 for the meter, depending on the size of your meter.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that, no one is being charged more than 4 quarters, because your bills, dates, slips here and there all the time.
No.
No,
Yeah.
so when we do our billings, we select each cycle, which quarter we're billing along to.
Okay,
So, unless we build you 2 second quarters, which would make sense.
and I'll be the first one to know, because I have 2 meters which are paying the charges for. So
Oh, your
water
irrigation
and
meter?
irrigation. So I'll be the first one to know.
Okay,
Okay, is there any other business? There being none, I call for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, moved and seconded.
Yes.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.